Hello creative designers, welcome to another interesting video tutorial. Today we are going to be drafting the shoulder dart bustier that we have on the thumbnail. If this is something you love to learn, then let's jump right into it. Welcome back, creative designer. So to start with, you'll be needing your basic bodice block. I'll be leaving the link to that video in my description box on how to draft a basic bodice block. Okay, so now let's get right into it. Here on the waistline, I'm going to be imputing my waist measurement divided by 4. So the waist measurement I'm using is 28 divided by 4, that is 7 inches. Next, I'm going to add my dart intake, which is 1.5 inches. You could do 2, you could do 1. This depends totally on what you want to do, okay? But for me, I'm going to be making use of 1.5 inches as my dart intake. Now that I've imputed that, the next thing I want us to take note of is that my front length and my back length are not the same. If you don't know how to take your body measurement, I'm also going to be leaving the link to that in the description box. So the difference between my front and back length is 2 inches. My front length is 16 inches while my back length is 14 inches. So the difference, which is 2 inches, was what I used to construct my bust dart. Okay. Now that we have gotten that, the next important measurement you need is your bust span measurement, which is also called your nipple to nipple measurement. Mine is 8 inches divided by 2, that is 4 inches. So from the center front to that point, I have 4 inches. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to construct my dart legs. Okay, so remember we did 1.5 inches as my dart intake. So on both sides of this dart line, I'm going to be imputing 0.75 inch on both sides to give me the 1.5 inches dart intake. I hope you understand. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to connect the dart legs. Okay, so I'm going to connect the 0.75 on both sides to meet up with my bust point. This is to construct our dart legs. Okay, so make sure you know how to construct or draft a basic bodice block. If you know how to, I'm going to be leaving the link in the description box. Now we have already taken out the 1.5 inches dart allowance that we added initially. So let's go to the shoulder dart bustier proper. So to start with, you've been dividing your shoulder measurement into two. Whatever it is you have on your shoulder line, divide that into two equal halves, get the midpoint, and then connect the midpoint to your bust point. Okay, so I'm going to be connecting the midpoint to my bust point with a slanted line, just like so. Good. Now, when you are done doing that, the next thing you want to do is to contour your underbust. Okay, so the underbust contouring, to tighten your underbust rather. So the underbust tightening is what we want to do next, and to do that, you need your underbust circumference. So you have to take your underbust circumference firmly when taking your body measurement or taking your client's body measurement. Okay, so my underbust circumference is 29 inches. I'm going to be dividing that into 4, and that will give me about 7.25. Okay, so when I've gotten that, the next thing I'm going to do is to impute that mark or that measurement on my under bust line. Okay, you're going to be imputing that on your under bust line. By the way, my shoulder to under bust line is 13.5 inches. Okay, so I'm going to impute the 7.25 inches on that line. Next, I'm going to be measuring the excess I have here from where I have the 7.25 to the end, to the side seam, the sideline. I'm going to be measuring what I have there. That gave me about 1.5 inches. Now, why are we measuring this? The reason is because we want to do our underbust tightening. So on this side, the left hand side, the center front area of my pattern, I'm going to be imputing half inch, while on the side front area, I'm going to be imputing 1 inch. What you're actually trying to do is to make sure that you don't share it equally, you don't share the dart equally. So with my curve, I'm going to be connecting those 2 points together just like so. So connect the points together, making sure it touches the mid line coming from your shoulder. Just watch what I'm doing in the video, you will understand. Okay, so I'm just going to connect that just like so. Can you see how beautiful that turned out? And I just showed us how to make use of our curved ruler when doing our under bust tightening. That is very, very important. Okay, so now that we are done tightening the other bust, the next thing you want to do is to connect those 2 points to meet up with your waistline. Now, creative designers, we advise you not to use a straight line because sometimes you have sharp curves around there and you don't want that to happen. So, this is exactly how to connect your underbust to your waistline with a perfect curve. This way, you're going to be eliminating sharp points. I hope you've learned something new. Okay, so now I'm going to eliminate these sharp points using this other part of my curved ruler. Can you see how beautiful and how well laid out that turned out? So the next important thing you want to do is to slash your midpoint, the midline rather. So you're going to slash that all the way to your bust point. You will slash your mid shoulder all the way to the bust point. When you are done doing that, the next thing is to close your bust dart. Can you see? So this is exactly what we mean by bust transfer. I've already transferred my bust dart to my shoulder. At this point, you could decide to cut out your patterns and you have your shoulder dart bustier. But then, because we want it to have perfect fitting, you want to have a perfect fit rather, the next thing we're going to be doing is further tightening. And to do that, you're going to be measuring what you have there, the space in between your shoulder, measure what you have there and then divide it into 4. I got 3.75, so I'm going to be dividing that into 4, and that will give me about 0.85 or so. So what you're going to do is to take that measurement, what you got divided by 4, take the measurement on this side of your pattern. By the way, I need to add extra paper to that part because we are going to be extending our shoulder line. So the measurement you got, that is 0.85 for mine, you're going to take that away from this part of your side front. Okay, so just impute that measurement. So on this part I will impute 0.85. Okay, I will also be extending my shoulder line. Okay, I'll be extending my shoulder line. This is because this measurement you took away from this part of your side front, you have to replace it back. If not, you're going to have shortage. So that is why I'll be extending my shoulder line, and then I'm going to impute that same measurement again on this part. What we are doing is it's a give and take thing. Whatever you took away from this side, make sure you replace it on the other side, which is on the shoulder line area. So next I'm going to be connecting that point to meet up with the with the point on my shoulder line. Now this is called 25% tightening because you divided what you have there by 4. The next thing is to reconstruct your armhole. Can you see? You reconstruct your armhole or your arm side. Okay, now if you notice any sharp points around here, you could blend that in with your curve. Okay, with your curved ruler you want to blend that in. You don't want to have any sharp points whatsoever. And then if you properly constructed, or if you drafted your patterns correctly, you will have little or no mistakes at this point. So when you are reconstructing this part or when you are blending this part, make sure the line touches the line coming from your shoulder and it also touches the line going to your underbust. And here we have our center front and our side front. Next thing is to cut out our patterns, and here we have it. This is exactly how I go about my shoulder dart bustier, and I've never made mistake with it. It always gives me perfect fit. If at this point, creative designers, you've watched this video to this point, please do not forget to subscribe, comment, like, share. Also turn on your notification bell so you can always be the first to get notified every time we post a new video. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for tuning in. And then we have our patterns. Thank you, and I'll